Well, turning now to a debate happening in cities across the country, including 3 cities in Southwest Washington, and that's fluoride in drinking water. This is a live look at a meeting happening right now in Longview. The goal is to give people there information about fluoride in water that will eventually lead to a public hearing next month. City Council invited a panel of experts both for and against putting fluoride in water. Each side will present their arguments with time for rebuttal and questions from the council. Now, before we get into the weeds of this story, let's take a look at the facts. Like, what is fluoride? And why is it in drinking water? CDC data shows about 2/3 of Americans are drinking water with fluoride. Fluoride was first recommended by federal health officials back in the 50s as a way to prevent tooth decay. The CDC says it replaces minerals lost in your teeth caused by normal wear and tear, which keeps them strong and reduces cavities. Health officials continued to endorse it even after fluoride toothpaste hit the market. But in the last 20 years, other studies have suggested a link between fluoride and brain development in very young children. It led to a lawsuit filed in 2017 by the group Food and Water Watch. The ruling came down late last year. A U.S. district judge determined that the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, needs to take steps to further regulate how much of the chemical is allowed in drinking water. While the EPA is appealing that ruling, some local governments in Washington have started discussions. Not just Longview, but also Battle Ground in Camas. Earlier this month, the Battle Ground City Council held a study session going into detail of the city's history with fluoridation, how it even works, and state laws that regulate the process. The mayor wanted to make it clear this will not be a debate over whether fluoridation actually works.
Some of the emails we've gotten that as soon as they say that in their email, I'm done. I mean, if you actually don't think the reaction is a double substitution reaction and rebuilds enamel and takes care of cavities, then I got some organic chemistry books. You're welcome. We can come dust them off and take a look.
Now, expert critics of fluoridation, which there is one at the Longview discussion tonight, argue that current federal guidelines aren't clear enough, and there should be more focus on the risk of exposure to high levels of fluoride, especially among young children. Earlier this afternoon, we talked to a Longview council member, Eric Halverson. He's the one who called for today's workshop and invited the expert who's opposed to fluoridation. His concerns lay with the evolving science around the health effects of fluoride, but also with the city's budget.
The city wanted to spend $200,000 to build a new chlorine tank at our water treatment plant, and through my research and working with the Public Works Department, I realized we can convert the fluoride tank that's currently holding the fluoride and turn that into an additional chlorine tank to save the city about $200,000. So cost is a big factor in this as the city, like cities all over the Northwest, are dealing with budget constraints, and this was just another way we could stretch our dollar.
Now, we also talked to a council member on the other side of the argument, Ruth Kendall. She is firm in the belief that the pros of fluoridation far outweigh the cons, and that some of the recent developments around the topic aren't all based in fact.
And I think that there is a lot of misinformation available out on the internet and so forth, and there's a lot of studies that have been done at different levels of fluoride concentrations than much higher concentrations of fluoride than what's the recommended level is, and what the city has in the water supply here, which have shown some negative, maybe possibly negative outcomes. But at the levels that where we fluoridate the water to, it's been shown to be very safe.
All right, so what's next for these 3 towns? As far as Longview, today is just an educational workshop. City Council will hold a public hearing on February 27th. Camas has its public hearing on March 17th. And in Battle Ground, the process is underway, but little detail as far as next steps. But state law requires public water systems to give 90 days notice before a vote or decision on the matter. Something to note, the city of Portland does not have fluoride in its water. In fact, it's the largest city in the U.S. that doesn't. According to the Oregonian, Portland voters have rejected every proposal to add fluoride since 1962. All right, so what do you think? Should cities get rid of having fluoride in their water? We know this can be a controversial topic. Let us know your thoughts. Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.